Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another RF Crypto video. On today's markets, the markets haven't moved much. They're basically the same as they were yesterday. They've only moved by a measly 0.13%, and the global market cap still stands at 1.77 trillion, almost the same as yesterday. As you can see, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they haven't moved much. BNB hasn't moved much. The only thing that's gone up is Solana. It's probably following yesterday's announcement that Coinbase has listed 2 more Solana ecosystem tokens, but the market itself is not up by a lot. But one interesting thing that is going on is that Tether is now the 3rd largest crypto in terms of market cap. As I said yesterday, the stablecoins were the winner in January because they retained their value while every single cryptocurrency's value went down. If you can see, USDT is the 3rd largest crypto in terms of market cap, and USDC is the 5th largest. So in the top 10, we now have 2 stablecoins. They're the winners. They're the clear winners. I think this trend is going to keep going, but I think Tether is going to be stuck here for a while. It might drop to 4th because as soon as BNB pumps, the 62 billion will overtake the 77 billion of Tether. And also, in order for Tether to reach 329 billion, it would have to go up by quite a lot. So I don't see it moving up, but it could possibly move down. But for now, Tether is sitting comfortably with a bronze medal. In terms of the Bitcoin charts, we are seeing some consolidation between 36,700 and 39,200. I still believe that the resistance level stands at 40,000, and if it breaks this 40,000 level, then it's going to shoot up. And the support level now stands at 36,000, around 36,500. So it's trading between a almost $4,000 band. I think if Bitcoin breaks this $40,000 support level, then it will go up, and the new resistance level will be what the previous was, which is 44,000. So it would trade between 42, which is the previous support, and 44,000. And I'm not really sure what direction it's going to go because the markets now are a bit funny. They're moving laterally. There is a lot of consolidation going on. It's clear that there is some consolidation going on because price movements were a lot more aggressive and they've become less and less aggressive. They've started moving more laterally, which means that people are consolidating their positions. People are not really taking big risks, and the market reaction has gone from underreaction or overreaction to more of a neutral reaction. But Bitcoin is now at a stable place. It could go up, it could go down, but as I said before, if it breaks this 40,000, be ready for a rally and be ready for some nice profits or if you're in the long position. Leverage went down a bit. This was quite clear that it would happen because the last day of the month, a little bit of leverage was flushed out of the market and the price of Bitcoin went up as a result of the leverage being flushed out. A lot of the leverage was short positions, which means that the market was expecting the price of Bitcoin to go down, but it actually went up by a bit. So these positions were liquidated, causing a bullish sense, a bit more of a bullish sentiment in the market, causing the price of Bitcoin to go up. It is a sensitive topic because leverage still remains very high, and it is something to keep an eye out for. As I said before, a drop of leverage from, let's say, 0.21, which is now, down to 0.16, which it dropped to in December when the prices dropped, could lead to a 30 to 40% correction on the downside. So that's something to keep an eye on. Leverage is increasing not only with Bitcoin but with Ethereum and now Solana and Polkadot. So the whole crypto market is becoming more and more leveraged. The higher the leverage, the riskier the markets become, and the more sensitive price movements become to, let's say, news. If the market sentiment becomes negative due to the news, prices will fall. And if margin calls from these derivative instruments or from these leveraged instruments get activated, then those positions will be liquidated and the leverage ratio will go down. But at the same time, because it's a bearish signal, the price will go down by a multiplied effect. It is clear that that would happen because if you can see here, when leverage went down in December 3rd to 4th from 0.19 to 0.16, the price went down from 66,000 to about 49,000. So very, very important metric. We keep an eye on it. On other news, SEC asks Bitwise to address concerns about proposed Spot Bitcoin ETF. So the SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission, has asked Bitwise to clarify how the investment firm will prevent share manipulation, fraud, and other potential issues in its proposed spot Bitcoin ETF. The SEC also flagged its concern about the Bitwise Bitcoin ETPs trust, so exchange traded product, trust liquidity and transparency, and requested more color on the suitability of Bitcoin as the underlying asset for the fund. The difference between ETFs and ETPs is just that the ETFs are a fund. You have to hold the underlying assets in order to have that amount of ETF in the market. So let's say they have $10 million worth of Bitcoin ETF in the market. The company behind this ETF has to hold $10 million in Bitcoin. However, ETPs are more like bets on the price of movement. They just track the underlying asset, which in this case is Bitcoin. And it's more like a bet in the sense that will the price go up or will the price go down? You invest in an ETP. It's also less costly because you don't have those costs of actually holding the underlying asset in your portfolio. But I think the most important takeaway here is that SEC is asking a lot of questions in terms of Bitwise's proposed spot Bitcoin ETF. If they're asking questions and they're not outright declining the request to list a spot Bitcoin ETF, it means that spot Bitcoin ETFs are closer to being listed than we think. Before, the Bitcoin spot ETFs were declined on the spot, and now a lot more questions are being asked, and I think the SEC just wants to be sure that it is a safe product before it actually approves its listing on the markets. And the fact that it's doing this means that there is a lot more interest, or I think a lot more pressure from the markets to list an actual spot Bitcoin ETFs, especially since futures Bitcoin ETFs have already been approved and listed in the market. And now the obvious next step is spot Bitcoin ETFs. So we'll have to see how the conversation goes between SEC and Bitwise. It's quite important to keep an eye on this, and the listing of a spot Bitcoin ETF, which would make it the first spot Bitcoin ETF, would have major effects on the price of Bitcoin and the crypto market in general. It's an extremely bullish signal. It means the evolution of crypto assets now into having spot Bitcoin ETFs or spot ETFs in general. And I think if this gets approved, the price of Bitcoin will rally a lot, and the price of cryptos will rally behind the rally in the price of Bitcoin, because it is a signal, or it is a precedent for other cryptos, especially Ethereum, because it's the next big one, to have spot ETFs as well. Because we have Bitcoin futures ETF and we have Ethereum futures ETFs, but no spot ETFs. So if one of them gets approved, then it paves way for others to get approved as well. Jack Dorsey touts Bitcoin virtues at MicroStrategy conference. So at the MicroStrategy conference, Jack Dorsey, who is the CEO of Block and who is the previous CEO of Twitter, said that we're the closest we've ever been to having a native currency for the internet with Bitcoin. And he said that the world needs a universal currency where, for instance, decisions made in Washington or any major global financial powerhouse doesn't affect smaller nations on the other side of the globe. He also said that Bitcoin's advantage is its transparency, because its fees are visible and understandable. They're quite simple to understand, and it's quite cheap, whereby traditional finance charges you in a black box, and corporate managers can't always see how they work or are priced. We don't know how fees in traditional finance are done. We don't know how they work, and usually it's more like there is no transparency. They don't explain to us what each fees mean, and we're left in the dark. Well, in Bitcoin, it's a different story. So Jack Dorsey is a Bitcoin maximalist. He has been a proponent of Bitcoin as a currency as an asset for many years now, and it makes sense why he would say this. But it does make sense what he is saying as well. So it's not the fact that he wants to shill Bitcoin or anything like that. He is saying things that make sense. FTX acquires Japan's FCA licensed crypto exchange Liquid. So, American billionaire and CEO of crypto exchange FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, announced that his group acquired Japanese crypto firm Liquid Group and its subsidiaries. One of its subsidiaries, which is Keone, acquired a Type 1 financial instruments business license under the Financial Instruments and Exchange Act from the Japanese regulatory authorities, which means that this is a perfect way for FTX to get into the Asian markets, especially in Japan, where crypto is massive and where it's quite crypto friendly, because they're acquiring a company that already has a Type 1 financial instruments business license, and it's an easy way for them to get in without having to go through all that bureaucracy of acquiring a license, talking to regulators, going through all that due diligence. And as part of the deal, they obviously agreed to comply with Japanese laws while serving existing Japanese users on its platform. And based on this agreement, FTX will transfer its existing users from Japan to Keoni's trading platform starting March 30th. So FTX is getting into Japan. It paves the way for it to get into Asia. They acquired a company that already has a trading license in Japan. FTX already operated in Japan in a limited way. So now all of the FTX's existing customers are going to be transferred to Keoni's trading platform. But it doesn't matter because Keoni will be owned by FTX. So a big step for Bankman-Fried and his company FTX. ConsenSys is to beef up MetaMask security with latest crypto acquisition. So yesterday, on the 1st of February, ConsenSys announced that it acquired MyCrypto, an open source platform that allows users to manage Ethereum accounts privately and securely. The announcement added that MyCrypto will combine efforts with the firm's leading crypto wallet, so MetaMask, in order to further improve security and create a unified user experience across desktop, mobile, extension, and browser wallets. So the most important thing here is that they're going to improve phishing detection services for MetaMask. So phishing is basically a cyber attack in which a malicious actor poses as a trusted person or organization to trick victims into sharing sensitive information or sending them money. So you might have gotten an email on your spam folder saying that you won $1 million in the lottery. Here's a link, just log into your Facebook account in order to claim this prize. So whenever you log in, if you open the link and you log in, they get that information because that's a fake site. That is called phishing. Why is it called phishing? Is because they're phishing for your information. And ConsenSys is not a small company. ConsenSys is a massive company. Not only have they been behind MetaMask, but they also have been in contact with big payment platforms and also made partnership with them. So one example is ConsenSys announced a partnership with Visa in mid-January 2022 in anticipation of the launch of a number of CBDCs this year. The collaboration will allow Visa users to link their cards or digital wallets to CBDC and use them wherever Visa is accepted. And there is also a possibility, though it's not confirmed yet, that these options may also be integrated into MetaMask at some stage into the future, which makes sense because why would ConsenSys form a partnership with Visa? It means that side by side MetaMask will work with Visa in partnership, and let's say just like Apple Pay, you would be able to link your Visa card to your MetaMask account in order to transact in CBDCs and potentially in future other cryptocurrencies that are used as a form of payment. These are very interesting developments, and it's just the beginning of the digital currency universe, which will become global as time moves on. And with that, we come to the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, please hit the subscribe button, please share this video with your friends and family, and I will see you tomorrow for the next one. Invest wisely, and cheers.